The question of fake versus real is one that has existed for a long time. You can think of the question mark around a painting. Is it a fake or is it a forgery? And you can think of the same thing for products that are created. Now we're entering a new era where we're starting to question the veracity of news. In the past, organizations that delivered news established their trust over decades. The writers became household names and were trusted. Now, with the advent of the internet and the acceleration on the news sources that are delivered to the citizens of countries, we have a multitude of voices. And the question of veracity, once again, is a big one. And the influence that networks such as social networks are having is one that is being questioned. The battlefields for dissemination of information are spilling over not just from physical world wars. In this case, you can see here a headline from the New York Times. It says, "A Facebook war, Libyans battle on the streets and on the screens." And it calls out terms such as keyboard warriors, where information is being battled and disseminated and trying to influence very much at the same time as the physical battle is taking place on the ground. In fact, in certain places, it has become a platform for black markets. It has become a platform for passing information onto the battlefield. It has become a place to try to confuse or provide false information. And so this is something that we haven't seen in the past, and it is something that is creating great concern. When it comes to the intended use or the initial use of these platforms, where it was to connect to a social graph of friends, this is something that was not intended. Now, if we think about what has happened in the last couple of years, a scandal such as Cambridge Analytica, which sourced 50 or more million accounts to try to create better predictive models and potentially influence an electorate, these are big questions that are being asked. And to that, and very much in the same vein, the question of how much influence the Russian hacking that took place during the United States 2016 election is a big one that is still trying to be addressed. However, this type of attacks or this type of influence continues to develop. And the latest iterations of this has been videos such as the one you see before you.
It's been less than a week since the deadliest mass shooting in American history. And foremost in all of our minds has been the loss and the grief felt by the people of Orlando.
Now, this is a video much like any other one you might watch. And in fact, if you live in the United States, you might have seen the president deliver this address. However, what might surprise you is that this is a fake. This is not, in fact, the video that President Obama delivered.
Here's the ground truth video of Obama saying the same words.
Especially our friends who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. I visited with the families of many of the victims on Thursday, and one thing I told them is that they're not alone.
To demonstrate the power of the method, we apply the same input speech mapped to 4 different target videos. Note that all 4 are synthetic and have different lighting conditions.
The auto industry, to help families refinance their homes, to invest in things like high-tech manufacturing, clean energy, and the infrastructure that creates good new jobs. Not to mention the job training that helps folks earn new skills to fill those jobs.
Here's an older Obama speaking his words from a quarter century ago.
Although I'm honored, and I think people can say that my election symbolizes some progress, at least within the small confines of the legal community, I think it's real important to keep the focus on the broader world out there and see that...
And these techniques are being further enhanced, and you can see here in this next video how well that has evolved. Take a close look at the person standing next to the television and then see the expressions of the president on the television. And of course, you can apply the same to many others. Both of these or all of these techniques are using machine learning and artificial intelligence. And the reason they have chosen initially presidents is because they have a large source of data that they can use to train their algorithms. But now think of the publications and of the citizens that are watching these videos when they are used maliciously, and think about how this could disrupt a democracy. To be fair, this is something that has also impacted academia. There was an experiment run where 3 academics wrote 20 hoax papers. Journals accepted 7 of these, and 4 were published. So even within a community that prides itself on peer review and close inspection of the materials, we're having some of the same problems. The marketplace is responding to a lot of these threats, and it's providing alternative models. The one that you see here before you comes from Tim Berners-Lee, the creator of the web, and is presenting a model where every citizen would control and negotiate access to its information. This is one of many that are being provided. This next one does the same with mail servers. Mail servers are by nature decentralized. However, what we have in the marketplace is we have a handful of vendors. This proposes that every single person has, once again, their own email server and controls their information. And if you think about how much of your work life and of your communications and your data and a lot of your documents are on email, it is significant. Ultimately, blockchain addresses a lot of the faults that we have discussed. It is decentralized, it is public, it has provenance, there's a chain of custody of what gets added, and it's open for public inspection. So this is, in many ways, a platform that addresses many of these questions. Much like the question of the email server, though, will we have 4 or 5 of these, or will every citizen have its own blockchain, and will the marketplace adopt this as a new abstraction to build a new generation of services, is a new question. As an exercise, think of the video fakes, or deep fakes as they're often called. Think about how might your organization be impacted by your leadership being made to speak fake messages. How high of a risk is it for you, and how would you minimize the risk?